Welcome to Gray Overload. I'm Anthony, and it is official. Nvidia has stopped the pursuit of ARM. They said at their quarterly announcement that they will actually have a write-off this next quarter for that, purchase that didn't go through, which was what 1.38 billion or something in there that they had to pay. It was basically the term, the fee that they was paying to get to buy it and all that legalese stuff. So SoftBank is going to be able to, it has that, but now Nvidia is going to be writing that off. And Jensen was, saying that he really wanted to have ARM and keep it separate and go and just have it run as his own entity. I think that is a lot of lip service. However, maybe Nvidia will want to change their ways and maybe think of a different strategy. Time will tell on there. I have I'm very cautious about that because Nvidia's past has not shown that. To me, my point of view is Nvidia wanted this to be able to have a control of a full stack of a CPU, GPU, that full stack, compete with Intel, right? That's what they really wanted, and to crush Intel. I make no mistake, they wanted to crush Intel. They do not like Intel going on their turf with GPUs right now, and they did not want that to happen at all. So Jensen's just runs the company that sort of way. I mean, he over the past, Nvidia's rubbed a lot of different companies the wrong way, and when you're facing a lot of different headwinds from a lot of major companies, it's gonna be hard to make a purchase of something when in the past you have changed the deal or taken full control and um, not really had good faith in that purchase in the past. And as many of you, if you've watched the channel, I don't really like purchases at all. I like to see companies innovate and compete, and hopefully consumers get a better product, a cheaper product, and an improved product that continues on. Whereas a lot of these purchases, we're seeing a lot of different products just have stagnation or really just not have good products. I mean, there's a whole bunch you could do for Microsoft. Nokia, Skype. Um, do we want to continue anymore? There's been a lot of them. Yeah, granted, there's been some good ones, but you start to stifle this, and then you have other ones that didn't creep up. I'm actually kind of glad that Microsoft didn't get Discord too. It's just, yeah, that nothing's really gone well in a lot of these purchases that that have happened. And so, if this would have been another one where, let's say, Nvidia changes the terms of licensing, and even Intel and AMD uses some ARM CPUs, this could have really changed the landscape. And you know, at some point, I know Nvidia wants to make sure that Intel stays off their turf. And the GPU market right now, it has been just overpriced like crazy. However, Intel is supposed to be coming out with this GPU at some point in time. If Intel releases a GPU after, prices are starting to come down now, but if they continue to come down and then, everyone's kind of picked up a GPU and then Intel releases it and it's still not a, great performing card, well, Nvidia just got out of that mess immensely, right? AMD has a CPU side. AMD, is selling every single chip it makes right now, no matter what, and it just needs more fab space to really fill that out. Intel, Nvidia and Intel are doing it too, but uh, the GPU unit right now for AMD is not the biggest moneymaker. So Nvidia's biggest moneymaker is the GPU side, right? And they have data center too and other things. But if Intel were to take a little bit of that market, Nvidia would not be happy. So if this is delayed, Nvidia is going to be ecstatic because then they're going to get ready for their next generation, their RTX 4000 series, and really push that out. This could be, I hate to say it, Intel could be behind a little bit too much, and I want Intel to do well because that gives me another graphics card option. Hopefully, it's a good option to be able to have. In fact, I wanted to. I don't know where the specs are on these right now, but my kids just built a computer, and I'm gonna get that build out. I was gonna do that today. I am just roasted tired. Oh, a couple of kids were sick, not feeling well, so I was up a lot last night. and I did not get as much recorder as I wanted to, but I will get that out soon. So I wanted to throw a GPU in there from Intel, um, and just to see how it really performs. It's not, it's got an i5 in it. It's not like a major gaming machine, but I just wanted to see how it performs, how the drivers are, and just get acquainted with it before maybe the next release of Intel had on there. But I think that Nvidia is really hoping that they can just come out swinging against, even though AMD's GPUs may be immense. Nvidia has that name recognition. I think they're a little worried about what Intel can do, because as much as Nvidia's done bad practices, and this goes back from them not getting the purchase of ARM, Intel always does bad practices. However, Intel somehow still gets all these approvals for purchases, right? Intel just went through and did another purchase for a, oh, what was it? I am blanking on the name of it. But Intel did have another purchase here recently of a semiconductor company. So maybe I'll do a video on that, maybe not. But Intel has this purchase now going through as well. And I'm sure it was not going to sit well with Nvidia that, how Intel is building this war chest and Intel's competing does kind of the same tactics behind the scenes that Nvidia does, right? Intel wants to be able to sell you a machine with all Intel in it, right? Intel owns the base of the laptop market, so if Intel can sell you an Intel CPU with an Intel GPU instead of an Nvidia one, they're that's great, right, for Intel. So it's kind of closing them out of the market. And believe it or not, one of the Nvidia's best friends might be AMD in all this, and maybe Nvidia might take their approach to, because AMD's been more open to work with other companies than Intel has in the past, especially um, once there's high performing CPUs there, especially mobile in certain areas, and maybe Nvidia will go, well, we'll work with you AMD, but we will take on some effort here to promote your laptops with your CPUs and then our GPUs in them. And AMD might take that to try to take a little bit more market share away from Intel for the time being, and then move on from there. Because we've seen AMD's GPU version work with Intel as well, so there might be some that sort of reciprocation, sharing items and trying to for Nvidia to try to attack Intel. I do have some concerns about Intel, and this video is kind of encompassing a few things outside of just the ARM mistake that came in there. But I want to say one thing. I had some concerns when Intel brought over Raja Koduri for the GPU division. If you remember, at AMD, drivers were bad, and the GPUs just didn't perform. They were overhyped, and they underperformed Vega very, very much so. And I had some concerns because working in the software industry as I do, you kind of see patterns with people, and I thought that there might be another driver issue. Now, Intel has enough R&D budget to surpass this, but there's some rumors out there that there's going to be GPU drivers are something that need to be ironed out. That is a concern for me, and we don't know where performance lands, but let's say performance doesn't hit where they kind of expected it to. This is going to be starting to be a pattern. Hopefully Intel can, you know, jump over that, but it will be interesting to see as well as we move forward how these GPU architectures are continue being improved by each of these three companies, especially now that Nvidia does not have ARM to kind of compete on the CPU side. So it's going to be a GPU race where Nvidia, I think, is going to want to crush the other two, as they always have. Nvidia is going to try to make sure that Intel does not get their feet off the ground, because if Intel gets their feet off the ground, this could be a very hard time for Nvidia, which they're trying to avoid. So let me know what your thoughts are on Nvidia's ARMs out of the ARM purchase. Where do you think ARM's going to go? I think that, SoftBank is going to take it public to try to, get some cash out of it. And then this Intel GPU, I have my concerns from some things I've heard. I do still want to test it out. I will say that I'd like to test it out, but if it just doesn't perform well, and who knows, I might pre-order it, maybe not. It's one of those things where it's going to depend upon a stock and price, but like everything else, and if I have the cash for that. So let me know what your thoughts are. I'm very interested in them. And until next time, thank you guys all for watching. God bless, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.